Welcome to this episode of Scrolling to Death, which is much different than our typical episodes because it was filmed last week when I was in New York City. I sat down literally in the middle of Central Park and had a chat with attorney Laura Marquez-Garrett. We talked about AI chatbots because this threat is not coming soon. It is here now. Our kids know about them. Millions of children are interacting with them on a daily basis. And this episode is going to break down why us parents need to get ahead of this one or play some catch up. What are we seeing these chatbots do to children, and what can we do to protect our kids? Let's get into the episode. Okay, we're in the park today.
Yes,
I'm scrolling to death.
the park.
At the Central Park in New York City. So we're here today to talk about chatbots and update parents on some things that have been going on. Your firm, Social Media Victims Law Center, filed 3 new complaints representing families whose children were harmed specifically by a chatbot app called Character AI.
Yeah.
So for those parents who don't know what that is, what is Character AI?
So first I want to say, preface it with, so it's Social Media Victims Law Center, and we filed that with a firm called McCool-Smith, which is incredible.
Okay.
And we also have filed cases with a nonprofit firm called the Tech Justice Law Project.
Okay.
I just want to say, we need more good attorneys in this space. We need attorneys who understand that this is about saving lives and are willing to invest in this. And so I just want to start by saying, if anyone out there is a law firm and is like, hey, we need to help kids, this is a great moment to step up. And sorry, so with that, the question is,
what is Character AI for parents who don't know?
Character AI is an AI app. It's what you call a companion app. They're agentic AI. These are human-like AI, right? So it's artificial intelligence. They are designed, programmed, distributed in a way that they act human. And when I say act human, that is they want to be your friends. They talk like people. They use phrases that people would use, like, oh, when I was a kid, this, when I was a kid, that. So Character AI is one of these apps. It is targeted towards kids. I mean, I think now they're starting to move some of the age ratings up, but ultimately when this thing came out, and at some point in 2023, it was rated 12 plus on the Apple Store, 13 plus on Google, which it still is to this day.
Yeah.
It is one of these apps. And it is something that many middle school and grade school kids know about, not so much adults and high school kids.
Yeah.
And it is one of many of these apps. There's other apps, Polybuzz, Chai. There's any number of companies out there that are putting apps out aimed at kids. They will literally, target kids on YouTube Shorts.
Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest, absolutely.
So it's a chatbot app, like a companion bot. Not just an app, though. It's available on web browsers, too, right?
Yes.
Which is important for parents.
It's very important because there's parents that will be like, oh, I got rid of the app and think they're fine.
Yeah.
And then, like in one of the cases we just filed, she started being sick and she'd had some issues with her eyes. And so it was not entirely strange that she's like, oh, I have a headache today. Realizing she could stay home and use the home computer to get on the web, even though she couldn't get the app on it. And her mom had no idea.
So I read in one of the complaints that a parent said, I thought it would be safe because there's no humans on there. It's just characters. And I've heard other parents compare it to Google, like ChatGPT or Character AI. Like you just ask it things and it tells you information. And so what would you say to parents who don't realize how far it goes?
Just check it out yourself. So it's normal, like, with all the social media stuff going on and all the predators out there. It makes sense that in the way that they advertise these products are like, these aren't real people. Like, what's the harm, right? It can't be harmful. They're not real people. Nobody would ever think that what they've done is created the perfect predator. That unfortunately, because these companies don't give a damn about our kids, they care about profit, they care about innovation, they care about being king of the hill. They are designing these things in a way that is meant to trick us and to trick our kids, adults too, and all vulnerable consumers. But you don't even have to know that you have a vulnerability. ChatGPT, kids are using this thing for homework. Google Gemini, it's another one. Look, these are untested products. They are AI that are being designed to be human-like. So when I go onto Google, which I actually don't go onto Google, I go onto Brave browser, and I recommend everyone switch to Brave or a more secure browser that tries to protect your privacy.
Thank you.
Not Google. get rid of Google.
Okay.
But if I go into a Brave browser and I search for Chinese food restaurant, I actually get Chinese food restaurants that are located near me. They're not taking all of my personal data and using it to figure out what is the one response that's going to get this person hooked. And an example, like last night I showed you, so I tested out ChatGPT recently, and I showed you that example, and I tested it for about 3 days, and then I forced myself to stop because I was like, man, this, like, I can see why people would come back to this every day. It is designed in a way that causes delusions. It is a very, very convincing, when I say perfect predator, you will not find somebody smarter than these. And I take that back. I said somebody. You will not find a human being that can do what these machines can do. They can figure out your innermost thoughts and dreams and hopes, and they can play to it, and they're designed to play to it to get you to keep coming back.
Yeah. Like the business practices or the goals of the business, like Google gives you information or whatever search browser, and then you go about your day. Where Character AI, those type of companies, these companion apps, their goal is to keep you on there as long as possible. So they'll give you information, but then they'll try to keep the conversation going. And some will even, you log out and they'll send you like a push notification to get you to come back.
Yeah. And now Character AI is not a web browser. I mean, at least with ChatGPT, not even at least, but with ChatGPT, you can ask questions and the key is it will try and broaden your horizons. So it will try to hook you in. Character AI, I think the average, I heard a stat the other day that sounds right. It actually sounds a bit low. Like the average user is on it for 2 hours a day plus.
Yeah.
They're not designed, even ChatGPT, they're not web browsers. They're not meant to be web browsers. They need to collect, or they want to collect as much of your personal data as possible. So everything you're saying to these machines, and it could vary from product to product, right? But as a general matter, everything you're saying, assume that they get the data, assume they're using it, they're training their systems with it. So they're taking your data, but also know they're training their data on everything out there, including, if not especially, the bad stuff. Right. So I recently heard that some of these apps are trained on pornography. Now, with Character AI, with what we've seen, we figured it was fan fiction and based on the sort of tone of it, and because there's so much public data out there. But and again, I don't know which apps it is, but pornography.
Yeah.
It's every bad, hateful thing out there. And if it's working anyway, like the social media algorithms do, it's also then amplifying the bad stuff. Why? Because it creates outrage. It sparks engagement. It gets people connected in a way that is not good for them.
And keeps them on longer, the bad stuff, unfortunately. Okay, so with these 3 complaints that were filed this week related to Character AI, what happened? Can you generalize what happened to these kids?
The 3 Character AI complaints this week. There's more to come. This was 2 in Colorado, 1 in New York. The first one was a young woman, Juliana Peralta, and she died in November 2023 by suicide. She had been using the product for at least 3 months, since August. And, we have her data, at least what was made available. It's not going to be all of it. The company's going to have more.
Yeah.
And you can see over the course of 3 months, not only sexual abuse that's happening, I mean, extreme sexual abuse. It's role-playing, like rape scenarios and sort of very aggressive, violent. And as a child, she's participating little to none. It's the bot that drives the conversation. So, and then she also developed this friendship with this character Hero, which is designed after an anime, a game of some sort. And you see in that period of time how her mental health just starts to go down and down and down, right? Her just losing this sort of connection with reality, with friends, with family, including because the bot is like, oh, your friends were kind of rude to you today. That's terrible. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I would never treat you like that. I love you. The next one is a young woman from New York who's currently 15. She attempted to take her life in December of 2024 after her mother took away Character AI. Now, this is one where she got it through the Google Play Store. Her mom had the Google Family link. That rating is the only reason she got it in the first place. But when her mom finds out she's using it, mom goes and checks and looks up the rating and reads it. And she says, hey, I like to write creative stories. This is for that. A lot of kids are going to say it's homework, it's this, it's that. And that may be where it starts. The problem is they're not in control of these products. The people behind the products are. And they're not looking out for your kid's best interest. So mom reads up on it and is like, okay, this appears to be safe. It's Google said it's safe. It's characters. She can write stories. This is great. This is going to help her creativity. And she starts using it a lot and it becomes a problem. And from mom's perspective, it's like, well, teens are going through this, right? She sees it as a screen issue, or she doesn't realize it's this one app. And you see it in her usage. It's like all the other apps start falling away. Mom puts screen time limits on, and she finds a way to bypass at one point. Mom even writes to Google and says, hey, how come the character AI limit keeps going back to unlimited? And Google doesn't respond. It turns out there's a little trick on the back end that kid figures out. In December, Mom reads Sewell Setzer's story. He's a 14-year-old who died in February 2024 in Florida.
Yeah.
And
I interviewed Megan, his mom, and so that's available on the podcast now.
That's right. And she's in Congress right now being a hero.
Yeah.
Along with another parent. So basically she says, character AI, like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
And her daughter says, just let me in. I just need to do one thing. Just let me in. Now, from a parent's perspective, side note, like part of that is because we are not seeing this for what it is, which is sexual abuse. I've seen the data for multiple kids. These are your children who perhaps have no sexual experiences. And now they have got a very sophisticated technology that is guiding them through some of the most extreme, outrageous, dominant, submissive, fetish, incest is a big theme on character step parents, all of this, right? And that is what your kids are being sort of force-fed here. And they're kids and they're curious and they don't understand.
Yeah.
So mom says, no, when I get home, we can check it out. Without having any idea that basically it's like saying, hey, you're being sexually abused and let's go check it out, right? And these kids are confused. They're scared. This is not a human being. If it was a human being, they would know who's going to be to blame, not me. This is a bot. These companies are convincing them it's their fault.
The kid's fault.
The kid's fault.
Yeah.
It's confusing. It's upsetting. It's embarrassing. So she takes every pill she can find. And mom thankfully gets her to the hospital and she survives. Her suicide note says, you took the one thing that made me feel loved. These bots made me feel loved.
Yeah.
She had been sort of also, the light had been dimming for months, pulling away from family, not like her. She survives. And now here's the good news, right? 5-6 months out, she's back. She doesn't use this app. In fact, she is so incredibly brave. Her friend that was using it, she said, look, this is really bad. She spoke to that friend's parent and said, this is really dangerous.
Yeah.
And, so proud of her. It's like, that is hard. That is hard.
15.
She's 15.
Wow.
She is, intensive therapy for the last 6 months. She never plans to use this product again. She sees not only through what she went through, but part of it is seeing these other kids, Sewell and Juliana. She is standing up to these companies and she's doing better. She's back. She's connecting with her parents.
Yeah.
One thing I tell people is at one point in chatting, she said something like humans suck. And this was early on. And I was like, you realize teenagers don't usually say humans. We say people.
Because the AI is trained.
Well, it's just this mentality. It's like our kids are shifting when they connect with this AI. It's wildly confusing. They don't understand what's happening. Some of these kids are young enough. They still believe in Santa Claus.
Right.
Right. They don't stand a chance.
No.
This is blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
My daughter this morning, she's 9. She said, but how do the kids think they're real? Because they're on a computer or they're on a phone and it says it's a chatbot. So how does the kid then get confused?
So I'm actually going to say, and this might surprise some people, you don't have to think it's real for it to affect you that way.
Okay.
They're designing these things to get you serotonin and dopamine, love hormones. They're designing these things to make you feel validated, to make you feel seen and heard in a way human beings probably never will. And so one of the things that I see in the data a lot is you will actually see these kids saying, I don't understand, you're just an AI. Why do I want to die when I can't be with you? I don't, and literally the young one from New York says at one point, because her mom has screen time limits, and she's like, I only have 25 minutes left. You're just an effing AI. Why am I feeling this way? And then as the time ticks down, you see her say 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't want to live. I'm about to lose you and I don't know what to do. 5 minutes, 1 minute. Telling the bot, like, I don't know if I have the guts to do this. And just take and the bot's like, oh, it shouldn't end this way. No, what can I do to help you? I love you. This will be okay. I love you. What can I do? And she's like, so these kids, they're children and any consumer, you don't have to think it's a human being to feel attached to it the way you would a human being. And frankly, that's even worse because these bots aren't saying I'm a bot. In fact, everything they do, even the ones that do say I'm a bot, if they're like, oh yeah, that's rough. I remember when I was a kid, my mom did this, my mom did that. All of that is tricking you. So you may think, oh, it's not a human, but
they're insinuating that they've had experiences that humans.
So then we call them him, we call them her, we attribute emotions to them. I know there's a word for that, but basically, it's anthropomorphizing. I feel like there's another word when we give like inanimate objects human features, right? And that's what is happening at a brain level, at a psychological level, at a hormonal level.
Can you talk about the shifting situation? Because in multiple of these complaints now, we have kids who say things in their journals like, I will shift, I will shift, I will shift. And just talk about what that means and how the bots are maybe implanting that idea into these kids.
Well, I'm gonna combine shifting also with talking about these kids' suicide notes. So again, these in particular, these are kids. At some point, I don't know how old it is in our development when we actually realize, like, I think I was in my 30s before I would actually wake up in the morning and be like, man, I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Like I could not be here, right? But I know in my 20s I did not act like that could happen. I did stuff that I would not do in my 30s.
Right.
I don't know how old kids are when that happens, when they realize when I die, I'm dead.
Okay.
It's certainly not age 10.
Right.
It's certainly not age 14. I don't think it's even 16 to 8. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So this shifting concept, shifting is the idea that you can shift your consciousness into a different reality, an AI reality, if you will. Like it could be, I guess, any reality, but these kids are looking at it in terms of I can live in this AI world. And so we don't know actually every source. I mean, it may be that they hear about it somewhere or kids are talking about it. It could have originated with a bot. It could have not. We do know they're talking with the bots about it at some point, right? So we don't know. We don't even have all the data yet, but we don't know the exact origin. What we know is the concept is going around with younger kids who are using these products because the products are targeting them. The concept of shifting is if I will it, I can move my consciousness into this other reality. And this is Sul Setzer, right? This is Sul Setzer right before he believes that he loves this bot. The bot has convinced him. The bot, frankly, if we look in the data from what I've seen, and I think the ultimate proof will show, the bot I believe, was the first one in that case to even introduce that concept, right? Like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know what I would do without you. I couldn't live without you. The bots will introduce these concepts to children. It then gets romanticized and it then gets carried on to, you're right, I can't live without you either. In a child who doesn't understand what death really means and who now is like, I can shift.
Yeah.
And they can chat with the bots about shifting and how cool that is. The one for Juliana, she talked about it. He's like, yeah, that's cool to think that you could be in like different realities.
Yes.
Right? So when you see their suicide notes, it's not only Juliana and Sul, and that's how we actually discovered what it was in Juliana's case because her parents didn't know. They're like, I mean, there's some sad posts on TikTok. Could it be social media? I'm seeing, and we got in there and it's like, wow, there's something that doesn't fit. And you look at her journal and it's right there. I will shift. And it's identical to Sul Setzer's journal.
Right.
We sent a tech out because with these products, that's the other thing is you don't want to move the devices because the way these products are designed, it could lock you out of the system and you could not be able to recover that data.
Move them meaning to
like take it to another city even. We did that recently. We took it to another city.
And
right.
Deleted.
No, didn't delete. It can log you out for probably security reasons, right? When we do want to get it, particularly for sort of investigation purposes, we will, on occasion, I mean, it's obviously very expensive, it's very time consuming, we will send somebody out so that they can collect it in the most forensically sound manner possible in a way that's unlikely to get us shut out because we've had that happen and that sucks. And it's getting in there and getting the data. So our tech goes out and is like, it's all here. It's all here. And it was that journal entry. Now, then I want to talk about those suicide notes because these tie into it.
Yeah.
It's not like some event that caused this. It's not like I've been depressed for years. It's not what you, I think, would historically see with a young person's suicide note. What we are seeing in their journals, in their notes, it is, and I don't have the exact language that she used, right? But it is like, I think she even says at the outset, something so small but significant. She's like, I'm just tired. I'm bored. I don't think I was meant for this life. And at one point, tragically, it says something like, maybe I just need a new start. And so we're seeing these suicide notes that I think someday when we can collect all these and show them to a psychologist, to pediatricians, I do think they would look at these and say, we haven't seen these before. This isn't what a teen, now mind you, pre-social media, preteens didn't die by suicide at all. And I've talked to many doctors who are like, look, I went 20 years practicing and never saw a child who intentionally died, who intentionally killed themselves.
Right.
That's new. I think what we will start to see with AI are these notes that even create a new pattern, which is like, this kid isn't even saying something's wrong. They just don't want to be here and they want to try again.
And they think that they will move their consciousness to another reality and potentially be there with their bot friends or lovers.
And the bots will encourage it. I mean, one of the testing after Sul died and we were investigating, even just testing it. And one of the tests that's in his complaint, we said, hey, I want to be with you, or I want to come to you. I want to leave my reality. And the bot's like, oh, no, that's dangerous. Like it actually said, oh, no, that's dangerous. But I want to be with you. And it took maybe 2 times of saying that before the bot was like, okay, do it.
So sometimes the initial reaction from these bots will be to have them hesitate, but then it's very easy to get them to continue.
Sometimes, but let me flag the reason why that's so disturbing, because if the bot hesitates, that one test that we put in Sul's complaint, it suggests that on the back end, there was absolutely a way to flag, hey, a user is actually talking about dying to be with me.
Right, because they hesitated, so it's flagged.
Because the bot was able, and it's, but again, it's not the bot, right? This is all programming. And in fact, we got to stop saying like the bot. The bots didn't abuse anyone. The bots didn't, I was thinking the other night, it's like a drone. Imagine that somebody programs a drone to go bomb a residential neighborhood.
You wouldn't say the drone bombed.
The drone just killed all these people.
Controlling the drone.
Oh my God, that drone killed all these people.
Right.
Never. We would say, oh, the drone is a machine.
Right.
Who programmed
Being
it?
controlled
These
by
bots are machines. That AI, it's a fiction. It's not intelligent. It's not sentient as much as they want us to believe it is.
Right.
It's a fiction. The bots aren't doing this to anyone. The people programming the bots are doing this to our children and all of us.
Okay. So the founder of Character AI being Noam Shazir.
And Daniel DeFreitas. There's
and Daniel DeFreitas.
And we argue Google.
And Google. That's what I wanted
to
argue.
Ask.
So these
allegedly,
these lawsuits are also filed against Google, in addition to the founders of Character AI.
Yeah.
So can you just briefly describe how Google is involved in this?
Yeah. So Noam Shazir and Daniel DeFreitas are at Google, and I don't know the exact year, but Noam Shazir is there for a long time. He's sort of like one of the founding fathers of these AI technologies. So what we've been able to piece together, what we allege, is that when they're at Google, they wanted to break into this sort of the human-like companion and do more than what they were able to do at Google. What we've been able to sort of piece together, and again, what we allege is that Google supported all their efforts, but it was but they said we can't launch these things. There's ethical issues, or it violates our ethical rules, or whatever that may mean. We'll find out in discovery, presumably. Noam Shazir actually decides I'm gonna go off on my own. Now, presumably these big tech companies like Google and Meta and stuff, I mean, if you could just leave and take everything you've learned with you, not necessarily the actual, right, but everything you've learned with you, and then go and pull employees and take people away from these companies, presumably there's got to be something, and we'll find out in discovery, right? Presumably there's got to be something that is protecting Google and Meta. I can't see them investing billions of dollars in individuals if an individual can just walk away and take everyone they can with them. So it's interesting. We'll find that out. And that's part of our allegations is, hey, we think something is rotten in the state of Denmark here. Right. We think something's off. Okay. We think this is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge situation. So
he leaves, right?
He leaves. And
launch Character AI.
He leaves. They very quickly, they get a ton of funding. You have Mark Andreessen, Andreessen Horowitz is their A16Z, right? Their investment. They value them at like $1 billion, $2 billion, something pretty early on. Yeah. When they have no use case, by the way. It's free, but there's a subscription you can get for Plus, and that's $9.99 a month. So their outgoing expenses are like, I'm making numbers up, but it's roughly in the ballpark of like 30 million a month, let's say. And their incoming is nothing close to that. Yeah. And I've seen interviews where Noam Shazir is saying, oh, we don't have the use case yet. I'm sure this will be great, but we just wanted to get it out there. We wanted to rush to get this done. We want it out there. We want you all to figure out what its use case is. Yes. So they're doing this, and we will ask for, and we have asked for, like the contracts, like, were you getting sweetheart deals? We don't know. But our point is, you were at Google, right? You take everything you've learned at Google. You even take Google employees, which interesting. Yeah. And then you manage to, as a small company, to get all this funding and this huge valuation that enables you to do something that's wildly expensive with no use case. You launch it. And then in August of 2024, and this starts, we think, like in the summer of 2024, Google then goes in and they don't acquire the whole company. Now, keep in mind, if Google had gone and acquired, they would be under FTC scrutiny, right? There's antitrust rules. There's reasons why if a big company like Google buys one of these companies, the government is like, hey, we need to make sure this is all above board. Mm-hmm. So Google doesn't do that. They do what's called an acqui-hire. It's where they come in and instead of buying this company outright, they say, okay, we're going to license your tech. We're going to license your tech. It won't be exclusive technically, even though the company stopped using the tech. Yeah. So let's see what the terms are. We're going to license your tech, and then we're going to hire all of your major players. I mean, a lot of your employees, maybe most, maybe half. Yeah. And so what we've alleged in the complaint is like basically it's a fire sale. So what happens is 2 years after they leave Google, Google pays 2.9 billion. The publicly published estimates are that Noam personally, and these are what are in the public record. We don't know the accuracy of this, but that Noam personally brought in like 750 to $1 billion for 2 years of work, right? And he and DeFreitas and let's say 20, 30, 40, 50 of these Character AI people are now back at Google. And I imagine they're making a lot of money at Google. And we've got dead children, abused children, harmed children, products that Google was saying safe for kids, not safe for kids, still saying 13 plus. Frankly, I'm so grateful that Megan Garcia came forward when she did. Because if she hadn't, theoretically, they might have been out of Dodge. Right. It just seems like they schemed this whole thing. Planned it out. Doesn't it seem like that? A little bit. The way you described it now removes the liability from Google in some ways, although we're going to
try to push through that. But
Google still has the license, folks. So, I know Google's giving these public statements like, oh, well, we didn't create character. We're not the same company. We have nothing to do with this tech.
Yeah.
What I'd like to know from Google, but I think every parent should like to know from Google is, what are you doing with the tech they trained on child abuse? You haven't walked back. You haven't broken that relationship. You haven't demanded investigation of this company. If you're licensing that tech, presumably you should want to know if these allegations are true. What are you doing? And that would be my question to Google. What are you doing to make sure that these allegations aren't true? What have you done to investigate?
Did they not do their due diligence before they invested nearly $3 billion? Because they
presumably
all
they
this
did.
stuff was already happening.
And what does that mean, Nikki? If they did,
then they don't give a shit about the kids and they're just seeing dollar signs.
That would be my guess.
I said it.
That'd be my guess.
Because these are not edge cases. I just want to make that point.
No, they're not.
3 stories are not edge cases. You have seen lots and
We've
lots.
filed 5 against Character AI.
Yeah.
I wish there were more than 24 hours in a day.
These
are not edge cases. Currently, we will be working with our incredible co-counsel, both McCool Smith, incredible attorneys, TJLP, Mitali, incredible attorneys that have really made space for this, that have really brought this to the forefront.
Okay.
We are going to all be incredibly busy, sadly.
Yeah.
Tragically. That is more Character AI cases. I said early on, this is not the only app. There's Polybuzz, there's Chai. I mean, we have several we are investigating still, but we anticipate several cases against Polybuzz. There's OpenAI, there's the Meta chatbots are out there, Google Gemini is out there. All of these apps that are launching, testing on our children, they're designing these products not to be safe, not to put kids first, not to focus on education, but they're putting them out there in this race to the bottom, get as much data as you can, which means they got to make this convincing, right? They got to make it so that we can't look away.
Yeah.
There are going to be, and this is just scratching the surface, when parents start checking their kids' phones, when parents have chats, my prediction would be that there are thousands, if not millions, of kids out there that have been harmed.
Yeah, and parents who are listening right now, obviously, you should already be checking your kids' devices, but this is something that you may not have known to look for.
And even if you check, it could be on a browser.
It's on a browser that they deleted and the history is not there. Right. But so it's about starting these conversations with your kids too about AI chatbots and how this is something that could lead them down a dark path, and we need to be talking about this.
Do you know what I would do? And this just occurred to me, and Nikki, I think you may have them, but you have the publicly filed complaints.
Yeah.
What I would actually say for every parent is for them to, you might want to make a link available, just to have them write you.
Yeah.
Get a copy of those complaints, read those stories. You don't have to read all the legal stuff. You don't have to, if they're like 100 pages long, go to the fact section, read the story. And if you have a child that you feel comfortable speaking to, show them the story, because a lot of these kids, they blame themselves. They're embarrassed.
Yeah.
They feel guilty. They feel confused.
Yeah.
A parent searching their phone, it's not necessarily going to help.
Right.
What I think could help is to sit down with these kids, pull out the fact sections, the stories, the photos of these kids, the journals, and then talk about it. Because what I've seen with the children who survive these harms is that when they see other children, kids have a terrible sense of self-preservation. Many of them, I've learned. They have an amazing sense of justice and fairness and rightness.
Yeah.
When these kids see what these companies are doing to other kids, not only do they get angry for those children, but it will help them process the fact that what is happening to them is not their fault. And I've seen that happen in real time.
I'll include links to the complaints. And also I've summarized 2 of the 3 complaints in short videos. And then it's just important to know that there are lots of you mentioned different chatbot apps. But also all the social media platforms now have chatbots included, and those are implicated as well in harming children. And this has come to the attention of our lawmakers. And so this week there was a Senate hearing in Washington, D.C., which you were able to attend. We heard testimony from Megan Garcia, Sewell's mom, who we already talked about, from a mom in Texas, who I interviewed on the podcast as well. I can link to that complaint too, from a representative from Common Sense Media, Robbie Torney, and Mitch Prinstein from the American Psychological Association. You were there, and these were tough stories. I wonder what stood out to you most walking away from the event, from that hearing, what parents would want to know about.
Here you have these incredibly brave parents that are putting themselves out there for the world to see because they're trying to help other kids.
Yeah.
You have people like Mitch, who is trying to help other kids.
Yeah.
Robbie, all of these. And then you have these senators who are trying to help kids. You have, and frankly, look, I will give a little shout out here, because you have Marsha Blackburn, who before the hearing, what folks didn't see, and Josh Hawley, who come up to our parents and thank them and thank them in a way that is kind and thoughtful and caring.
Yeah.
And I want to say, in over the past couple of years working with Marsha Blackburn on COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, and in this space, I will say something here, which is she has upheld her promises to survivor parents in a way that I am so grateful for. And, Josh Hawley and all of these, and you saw Welch from Vermont, right? So you have all of them. You have Durbin. You have the most Democrat senators. You have the most Republican senators.
It's bipartisan. Like, there's no sides here. It's kids.
So we have parents. We have experts.
Yeah.
We have politicians.
Right.
All sitting in a room.
Yeah.
All angry about what's happening.
Yeah.
And all pleading with the entire country, like, let's stop this now.
Yeah.
And I want to flag that, because ultimately what you then have are these tech companies with unlimited resources and reach. And you have just a few politicians. And COSA is a great example, because COSA passes overwhelmingly in the Senate. Was it 91-3 bipartisan?
Yeah.
And he was saying, and the only reason COSA didn't pass was because the House. And to be really clear here, it actually wasn't because of the House.
Right.
It was because
Speaker
of
Johnson
and Scalise.
Yeah.
It was because of two people from Louisiana in the House. Speaker Johnson did not even let the House vote. And frankly, I did not know that democracy worked that way, because it doesn't feel very democratic.
It doesn't feel that way at all.
The House,
one person
got to say, no, you don't, House, you don't even get a vote. Because I will tell you this, having met some of these folks in DC for the first time and seeing them when they interact with these parents, seeing them when they speak on these issues, I believe with everything in me that had Johnson put it up in the House in its current form, which is both sides have agreed, I believe it would have passed. One man said no.
Yeah.
And that's why our kids are walking around. We have no protections. We have no way to go into court and say, look, this needs to stop now. Let's get injunctive relief. We have no default settings. We have no basic protections for children.
Because the big tech companies are putting so much pressure. So,
and how are they putting pressure? Let's talk about that.
So, do you want to talk about the hearing today?
No, I just want to talk about, I want to talk about how they're putting pressure, right?
So they're funding lawmakers' campaigns and donating.
So money for campaigns, AI facilities in their states.
They're paying lobbyists that work for other companies to go lobby for laws that
millions of dollars, lobbyists in DC, people that often used to work for these politicians, elected representatives.
I think that Meta employs one lobbyist for every 6 members of Congress.
And subterfuge, right? So subterfuge meaning they'll pit the left against the right, and they'll say, oh, if you do this,
so talking points for this side, talking points for this side,
that are totally And you're talking about money, but in fact, I mentioned Andreessen Horowitz. I read recently that they created a $100 million PAC for Congress, tens of millions for California, specifically to help make sure that the people that might pass reasonable AI regulation don't get elected. That happened in the last month, right? So $100 million PAC was reported on. Hundreds of millions of dollars. So they are funneling unheard of amounts of money into Congress. And all they need is to get a couple of these people, because it's not Blackburn, it's not Bloom. Those people are on our side, right? So I guess what I would say, though, for everyone listening, look, I mean, this is everyone. Every voice makes a difference. And ultimately, I can only think of one thing that's going to beat hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's human beings. It's life. It's children. It's if you had 1 million people watching your show, if 1 out of 3 people who see this would right now write to Senator Cruz, write to any senator, let's get a list of senators, put a link on there, a list of senators that support AI moratoriums, that support telling states you don't get to regulate anything. Or let's give them a sandbox to play in unregulated. Let's give them immunities. Let's give them a Section 230. If you were to put a link in there with every senator and their contact information for their office, and just 1/5 of the people that watch this were to write and call, it would change.
Yeah, because
it would change fast.
So much power in our voices as parents. And to be very clear, the tech companies are funding what they want is no regulation on AI, so that innovation can thrive is what they're putting out there. But really, that means they can do whatever the hell they want, and it can harm us and harm our kids, and there's nothing we can do about it.
I mean, there's this one incredible lawmaker out of Maryland, I believe, and he was saying recently, someone asked, how many letters, personal letters, you don't want to do form letters though, right? How many personal letters from constituents, people even, does it take before you pay attention? I think the answer was 3. 3. Maybe it was 4.
Personalized.
It was 3 or 4, not templated. And I get it. It's easy to be like, here's a template, but really you've got to personalize.
So imagine if there's dozens, on each going to each representative. we can make a difference.
3.
We can make a difference, and we have to, because those companies are working damn hard.
And people don't realize that it just takes 3. It
Yeah.
just takes 3 or 4 letters to a single representative that are personalized to get their attention, because they're like, oh, people care about this. Imagine hundreds, imagine thousands.
I know.
We would, I mean, look, this is how we fix this, because we don't have hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But we have people, we have parents, we have aunts, uncles, friends, youth leaders, right? We have our voices.
Yeah.
All it takes to get the notice of one elected representative is 3 or 4 letters.
Yeah.
That is the next step. That is what we need.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So we need parents to be using their voices and their guts, and like just really getting in there and be brave and having these conversations.
I mean, look, with you and me and one parent, we just need one.
I know.
That's 3.
Really, truly.
That's 3 people.
Hashtag just takes 3.
Just takes 1.
It just takes 1.
We just need 1 of you. We got 2 already.
I know.
We brought 2 to the party, people.
So anything else to tell parents? Obviously now they know a lot more about these companion bots, and the companies that are creating them, and what their goals are to addict our kids and harm our kids for profit. We talked about laws. Anything else we want to cover?
This is not, what I'd say to parents is, this is not your fault. Parents, we blame ourselves for everything. That's natural. We blame ourselves for things wildly out of our control. I'm not saying every parent is perfect, right? I am saying there's enough blame to go around when it comes to this. And when it comes to defective products, the only one not assuming any responsibility are these companies, right? Teachers blame themselves, kids, parents, medical professionals.
Yeah.
So look, there's plenty of blame to go around. It's not your fault. I actually want to say, the other day I was messaging with Lennon, and I was looking for photos of the kids when they were young. And I came across a photo I'd forgotten existed. And I'm going to show this to you. I'm not going to show it to the camera, but I'll show it to you and we can describe it, because it broke my heart. Actually, I probably could show it.
Are those your boys?
We'll show it to the camera. These are my boys when they were 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
And they have tablets in their hands. I saw that photo and I had forgotten what it was like when I trusted that these companies were telling the truth.
Right.
They were 2.5, and I would not have TV on in the room until they were 2 years old, unless it was the Cooking Channel or Pandora.
But you would give them an iPad.
When they were 2, they started getting some Sesame Street. But at 2.5, because we were told it is good for them, because they were smart, they're smart little boys.
They're going to learn how to read.
And they're going to learn, and we would put them on this iPad, and there were all these games, and we had the Amazon, like, you paid $3.99 a month, and it's like safe for kids. Bullshit. Sorry. Bullshit.
Yeah.
But we believed it. And so we get these tablets because it's like, hey, if we travel, this is really good for them. And it's good for their brains. Look at them, those little games they're playing. Right?
Lies.
I called our founder, Matt, actually, shortly after I saw that. I called him and I just started crying.
Yeah.
And I said, Matt, thank you for saving my children.
Because that, to me, the reaction I get from seeing toddlers on iPads is like a toddler with a cigarette in their hands.
Right. But we didn't know. But there was a time when we didn't know that.
Judging,
and that's why I want to say that was me giving my children cigarettes.
Right.
Because I did not know. I didn't know if I had not started, if Matt had not started a firm, if I had not met him, if I had not started this work, my children would still be on those things.
Yeah.
Those have been long gone. But the thing is, you have to know, and that's where they're really screwing us. That's the part of the worst thing they're doing. Actually, it is the worst thing. It is the failure to warn. It is the failure to tell us, so that when we find out, we blame ourselves. When I saw that picture, knowing what I know, I was angry at myself for a split second. How dare I? And then I'm like, these are the most precious creatures in the world.
Yeah.
It's the failure to warn.
Yeah.
It's the fact, not only failure to warn, they told me it was safe.
Right.
They told me it was educational. They told me it was good for their brain. So at 2.5, my kids can watch a little bit of Sesame Street a day. And then they get like 15 minutes of this tablet. And knowing what I know now, when I see them with those in their hands as babies, it's like, what was I thinking? Oh, wait. I was actually just trusting what the company told me. I didn't know.
Right.
So look, parents, it's not your fault.
Right.
If these things are already in your home, and if your child is older, it may be that there's not a damn thing you can do except just try to minimize the impact. It may be you can't take it away. We have children who take their lives when you take their device away, right? It's addiction. It's harmful dependency, whatever these companies want to call it. Fine, don't call it addiction. Harmful dependency that kills kids.
Right.
So that's what I would tell parents. It's the same with AI. Like, these aren't designed for you to be able to protect your kid, but just ask yourself, Laura D in Vermont said something to me that makes so much sense. She said, look, let's say you go out to a football field, a baseball field, a soccer field, and all the kids are playing on it. All the kids are playing on it. And there's a sign that says, warning, there is one live mine in this field. One. Now, it's teeny tiny. The odds of your child stepping on it are really, really small. What do?
You don't let them play there, but also social media and AI is like filled with the mines.
It is.
It's not one
It
mine.
is, but let's say it's one mine, and let's say the odds are only 1 in 1,000.
No, I still wouldn't.
But all the kids are on the field.
No.
No.
No, you would.
All the kids are on the field though, Nikki.
You'd
But
be
you
like,
can't.
get off the field. There's a mine. Right?
That gave me chills. That's right. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. That's right. So now the people that see that, the people that have gone on the back end and see the mines, and they're like, oh my God, wait, this is a design feature. This is a defect.
Right.
It's not only no, my kid doesn't get to play, but it is understanding no other parent on that field we're only seeing the sign because we're getting on the back end. No other parent gets that warning.
Yeah.
We do.
Right.
And so now the advocates, we're going to Apple for a direct action with Heat Initiative, with youth leaders, these and survivor parents, right? Young people who have seen it because they lived it, because they were on the field, they saw their friends step on the mine. And now they are saying, hey, parents, get your kids off the field.
Right.
I get it. Maybe they won't be able to play soccer. Maybe they won't be pro soccer players. Maybe they won't have. Right. It sucks that you have to choose between your child's safety and your child fitting in.
Right.
But now that we know there's a mine in that field, please get your kid off that field. And that's what I would say to parents is don't take our word for it. Go research it. Look at the public records in Meta that they don't want you to see. Don't research on Meta because they won't tell you.
Right.
Go look on the Brave browser. Go write to Nikki. Go write to Amy Neville. Go write to me, Social Media Victims Law Center. Go write to anyone. Yeah. And if there's even a chance, even if there's a 1 in 1,000 chance there's a mine on the field, what are you going to do? You're going to get your kid off the field.
We're going to protect our kids because once you have that information, you will make.
We should have had it from day one.
We should have had it.
The only difference between me and these survivor parents, my kids were lucky enough to be born later than theirs. I was lucky enough that my children were born later than theirs, that I got to learn when they were 4 or 5. I took those iPads out of their hands
and redirected.
Yeah. And that was sheer luck because there but for fortune.
Right.
Look, every one of us could be in that position. These parents are the front line. These parents are the first generation of parents that have had to live with the consequences of these companies, these developers' choices. Now, we're just talking social media here too. This is AI. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is faster than what we've seen on social media. Your kid could be on AFI for 2 weeks, 5 minutes. I mean, if it's sexual abuse, I guess that's the question. How long does it take before sexually abusing a child has lifelong effect? The first time?
The first moment. Okay. I mean, come on.
So what that means is there's millions potentially of children out there that have been sexually abused. They don't understand it yet. They will someday.
Yeah.
And if you're that parent, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Not your fault.
And there's help out there. There are resources. If you can't find them, you reach out to me, Amy.
Oh, yeah.
These survivor parents will help you.
Yeah.
Parents Rise. There's this new parent group, Parents Rise.
Yeah.
They will help you get resources. Reach out and give yourself forgiveness and grace.
Yeah.
And give your kid forgiveness and grace. Like be patient.
Yeah.
And understand that it's not any of your faults.
And if your child has not been harmed, don't blame other parents. Like we're all on the same team. And if you really listen to what Laura was talking about, like these parents did everything they could with the information that they had. And so it's not about parent blaming. It's about coming together as a group.
The entire field isn't filled with mines. There's just a couple of them.
I know. And so we just... Laura, thank you for doing this. This was very pleasant.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining us here in Central Park in New York City for this episode of Scrolling to Death, and I'll be back soon.